All right, it's time for me to explain myself. So you saw the rating of 4. My rating basically is based on certain things. I will just break them down, which is the ride comfort, how this car is actually when you're driving it in town, and so on and so on. So in terms of the ride comfort of this car, I think it's one of the best in the market at this price range. And one of the contributions, I think, is the wheels, number one. Should I say the tires that are here, because they fit the 215 55 R18s on this one, and they're contributing a lot to the comfort of the car, because big tires like that, when you're hitting bumps, it's or potholes or and so on and so, it doesn't feel like you are in a cheap car, because it doesn't do a banging sound. Instead, it's a third kind of a sound, which gives you that premium feel. I'm actually driving on like a bumpy road right now, but it doesn't really feel like it's cheaply made. Let me put it like that. And then the suspension, the McPherson in front, and then the multi-link at the back, they're assisting a lot, because this is commonly used suspensions, I have to say. But for the multi-link, one thing you need to understand is that they're both independent, by the way. Multi-link is usually used for premium vehicles, and that's something that is used on this vehicle, so it should already tell you that they were trying to give you the best that they can give you in terms of ride comfort. Coming into the cabin itself, when I'm considering the seating proportions together with the armrest in between and the position of the steering wheel together with the seating position, it's so great. It's giving you comfort actually, and you don't feel like you're shaking left and right and so on. And I can tell you, I'm not that much of a big person, so it does feel great in that sense. When you're driving it, you feel comfortable, you feel like you can have a clear view out, and the vision that you're getting when you're driving, it's great when I'm saying face in front. But the issue that I have is when you're driving around town and you're trying to maneuver around town and stuff, and when you're turning left, for example, you might have issues, especially with this pillar here on the right. It's kind of giving me problems, because I don't know if it's my sitting position, but it's creating a big blind spot for me, and that's something that is just bothering me a bit. But once you get to know the proportions of the car, it gets to be easier. It gets to be easier, because you know when you're turning to say, I'm not going to hit the road capping on the side. And then the transmission, that is something, I don't know if you can hear it now, but I don't think you will hear. It tends to hold onto high gears a bit, especially when you're driving like slowly, or when you're trying to hammer it on a hill. Like now I'm going through hills, by the way. It's going nicely, but it's making that, it's like the engine is suffering a bit, as much as it's not, but it's making noise, because then now it's holding lower gears for longer when you are going up hills. It's the same thing that I experience when I'm driving on the highway and I'm going through like up hills and stuff. That's the thing that I experience with it. Sometimes it holds lower gears longer, but then when it gets to the top, at least it adjusted properly. And when you're driving on a straight line, it doesn't have much of those issues as well. That is something that I think people might find annoying because of the engine noise coming through the cabin, but it's not that much annoying for me. That's why I still kept it as high as I did. And then in terms of the maneuverability, it's easy to drive around town actually. It's an easy daily driver kind of. So it's not gonna give you that thing of saying I need to drive it only on weekends and stuff. They made it a driver's car. I think that's the thing that they were focusing on, that when you're driving it, you need to find yourself in a position where you're going to get comfort each and every day. And the seats, man, the seats, they made them so comfortable. This is one of the most comfortable seats that I've ever sat on, and we are in a 350,000 car. I've sat in more expensive cars, but it didn't feel as comfortable as this one is feeling right now. So that is a great thing for this car. It's a plus for it. Like now, if you can see that I'm driving on hills, it takes me back to what I was saying to you, that it's still holding on to gears, but when I get on top of the hill, it's changing and then it's working now properly. And the engine itself, it's quite a reliable engine because it's a Mitsubishi engine that has been around for quite some time. They are 1.5 liter engine that they've been using in the Mitsubishi Lancers. It's been there since the 70s. It's one of the longest serving engines in like around, I have to say, in the market. So when we talk reliability thereof, I think they are covered. So that's a nice thing about this car. So one thing that contributes a lot for me, it's the ride comfort. Even right now, I'm still hitting bumps and so on, but it doesn't feel like I'm in a cheap car. It contributed a lot to my score there. And then getting on to one of the main issues that I have with it. One of the main issues that I have is the brakes. We've done like what, 10,000 kilometers on this car now, and the brakes are already singing. They're singing a lot, actually. They're singing a lot, and it's bothering me, man. It's bothering me because I don't know if these brakes are already finished or they're just those brakes that are making noise. And sometimes when you're pulling up to a stop sign or you are in a parking lot, it can be embarrassing, I can tell you that. But otherwise, if it's just those brakes that are making noise but they can still do the job, it's fine. Because other manufacturers, maybe for Haval, for example, I'm not sure if they consider the weight of the vehicle in terms of the brakes that they put here, because I've heard a lot of people complaining about the brakes. And then the fuel consumption. Fuel consumption around town is crazy, but it's not as crazy. I believe it's because most people are then coming to the SUV market, and the first time they come into the SUV market, buying SUVs, I should say, it's with this Haval because it's not that expensive, it's attractive, it's a nice, good-looking car, and then you trying to get into this market having come from a small car. It's not going to be easy for you because this is a heavy vehicle. It's a 1.6 ton vehicle, and you can imagine it's been pulled by a 1.5 liter engine. So it's inevitable that it's going to be chowing petrol. But on a normal day, we are ranging around 7.5 liters for 100 kilometers. And yesterday, actually, I was traveling on it and I did like 200 kilometers. I was averaging around 7 liters for 100 kilometers, which is not bad because in other cars that are more refined, according to what can I say, the world or society, you find that maybe I'm averaging around 5 liters for a 1.4 engine, and the cars are not as heavy. So I have to say, for me, as much as a lot of people are complaining about the fuel consumption, it's not the worst that you can get out there. I've seen cars. I've been in a Kia Seltos, the latest one, where it was averaging around 10 liters at some point. And I understand it goes with how much you put your foot down, because even for me, if I'm driving this car on a long distance and I'm putting my foot down, like for real, you will see that it's really, really chowing. You find that maybe you're averaging around 8.5 to 9. And Haval has been very conservative on their fuel consumption because they put it at 9. And it's a very rare, I can tell you that it's very rare to average 9. But yeah, it's one of those, it depends on how you drive. The more you put your foot down, it's definitely going to kick in and give you that fuel consumption that is just very high. But otherwise, all in all, I would say it's a very, very comfortable car, great to drive. And yeah, it's I have to say, for this particular price range, for this 350,000 price range, I don't think you're going to get anything close to what this car is giving you currently. It's one of the best that you can get out there, I tell you. So I think Haval has done a great job there. I'm about to get on the highway now, so I'm gonna do less talking and let the engine do the talking, and I'll also demonstrate how it goes. Is it quick for you? I don't know. And then the overtaking, if I can find the car close to me, it sometimes makes that noise for the engine, but it's moving. It's not a performance vehicle by any means. It's not a performance vehicle, but it's okay on the motorway. It's enough for you to get that performance. I mean, it's like 105 kilowatts as advertised and 202 Newton meters. Those numbers are not small numbers by any means. It's rare to find those at this price range. So you can imagine how this thing, it sounds like a bargain. Actually, I think it's a bargain. So that's the thing about it. So I'm just gonna keep quiet now, let you listen to the engine and the cabin noise, and then yeah, you'll decide for yourself if it's bad or not. And my phone might not give it justice, as the microphone thereof might be loud sometimes and it doesn't have noise cancelling, but I can tell you the what is this? The cabin noise in this car. Oh, the engine noise only comes when you're hammering it, when you're putting your foot down and you're trying to overtake. But otherwise, like I'm driving now, I'm just cruising on the highway, less noise, and the comfort, man. I have to say the comfort is one of the things that is the selling point for this. So yeah, without further ado, I'll just let you listen to the engine, and yeah, that's just about it. Now I'm doing like 140, and what I can tell you is that there's a wind noise coming from the mirrors, but it is not as bad for me. I've experienced worse. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying, and I have to say, I'll repeat this. At this price range, I don't know how many cars are going to give you this. At this price, this is a 350,000 car. So that's the thing that made me to just rate it as high as possible. It's not perfect, but it's a 350,000 rands car. At this price range, I don't know what you're gonna get.